made by you.
Hello, I'm Nigel Slack, and this is Talking Sheffield. Tonight I have two guests. My first half guest is Nicole of Alt Scene I, which is a new independent business that's opened in central Sheffield. We'll be talking to her about that. And in the second half, I've got Hedley Bishop, who is the founder of Pictures of Sheffield Old and New, which many of our viewers will undoubtedly know because it's probably one of the largest membership groups on Facebook that I'm aware of. But first of all, to guest number one, and that's Nicole Jewett. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Nigel.
Now, Alt Scene I is yet another new independent business setting up in the city centre. How long have you been going?
We opened up in the middle of April. We opened for Record Store Day, was our first day of trading.
Right.
And we took that opportunity to start selling vinyl records from
Yes.
local producers.
Vinyl is one of your key items, isn't it?
Yes. But we decided to launch on that day, and we had a load of local DJs come and play sets for us. We had Winston Hazel and Rob Gordon, both originally of Warp Records and doing different things nowadays. And we had other local DJs come down on the day. It was a really great day to open, and the vinyl went down so well it's ended up being a permanent fixture in the store now.
Excellent.
I didn't think it would be, but yes, and interestingly enough, there's a lot of independent Sheffield record labels releasing stuff on vinyl now, so we're trying to get as much of that in the shop as possible.
That's great, so keeping the Sheffield connection going.
Yes, absolutely. Everything in the store has a Sheffield connection, so we do sell reggae, for example, produced in Jamaica rather than Sheffield, but it's selected by Sheffield DJs, so we try and keep the link. Anything that we're selling has some kind of connection to Sheffield.
Yeah, great. And where did the idea for the business come from?
Well, it was driven a little bit by the death of record stores and outlets that used to sell tickets in the city centre, because I always remember there were probably 8 or 9 ticket outlets in the city centre when I came to Sheffield in 2001, and slowly but surely they all dropped off because vinyl was also their kind of key business. But now with this revival with people buying vinyl music again, it seemed to me that there was an opportunity there to bring tickets back to the city centre alongside the vinyl. And yeah.
Because, of course, I used to go back to the days of Wilson, Peck and McCann's when you used to be able to go and listen to the records before you bought them.
Yeah, well, we've got a listening pod in the store as well, so people can come in and they can actually sit in our specially designed headphone chair whilst they're listening to music on a deck that's been provided by Robert Gordon, who's one of our local engineers, used to be part of Warp Records and Fon Studios. And yeah, we're basically trying to showcase all the talent around art and music in Sheffield in the smallest space. It's about the same size as your studio, but yeah, we've got a lot going on in there.
And of course, in terms of tickets, having a city centre location like that, to be able to get tickets for many different venues is ideal, rather than having to find the right venue to get the right ticket.
Yeah, I think also people enjoy the experience of coming and buying from a human being. And, you know, not everybody wants to use credit cards online, so we can offer cash or we can take card payments as well, but they get a physical ticket that they can put in a birthday card or, you know, keep for posterity afterwards, whereas online it's often just on your mobile phone or just an email. And yeah, I appreciate the paperless aspect of that, but at the same time it's nice to have contact with a human being, and perhaps you find out about some other gigs that you didn't know were going on.
Exactly, I mean that's the chance, isn't it? You'll come across something that you wouldn't normally have considered or wouldn't have searched for on the internet, and you'll see it there, and just the chance to pick up an extra bit of experience in the music.
Because not all of the promoters in Sheffield can necessarily afford to pay for listings in certain magazines or whatever, or pay for adverts. So, you know, this is a place where you can come, and if you're a promoter, you can leave your flyers and your posters and we'll put them in the shop. And if you're a punter, you can come and find out what's on. And it's not just the music. We advertise any other local businesses, independents in Sheffield. We're trying to give a high street kind of showcase to all the underground of Sheffield, because that's what makes Sheffield brilliant. You know, it's why so many people come to university here and stay at the end of their study time. It's not, you know, because of the homogenised high streets or Meadowhall, which you can find in many places. It's because of the underground of Sheffield and the interesting art and culture and music that goes on when you get to know where to go in Sheffield.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. And of course, it's that continuation of the thriving community businesses as well.
Yeah.
I've spoken to the guys from Regather, where I know you're very familiar with the guys at
Yeah.
Regather, and also Matt Hill from Union Street. And those types of businesses are becoming very much a integral part of the Sheffield city centre scene.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, Union Street's just across the road from us, and there's so much good stuff going on in there. It's, you know, a great use of a space that would probably otherwise be another derelict spot, which
I
we know
saw you
there's too
tweet
many
about the
of.
quality of their pies the other
Oh,
day.
well, yeah, the pop-up food in there every day is brilliant. I've been really enjoying that. They have bagels and soups one day, they have pies another day. They've got a new lady in there now doing slaw, which is loads of really healthy salads, and yeah, there's a great selection of food. And otherwise, to be honest, I thought the offering for lunch, we've got Fanouche and Street Food Chef around the corner from the shop, which are fantastic, and local independents again, which is really great. But, you know, I wouldn't want to eat from Greg's or your other sort of typical high street offerings. So it's great to have something popping up every day in Union Street that's different. And they have the Twin Cafe as well, so the coffee's fantastic any day of the week.
Now, the premises that you're in, on the corner there, you're the second business in those premises under the Renew Sheffield scheme.
Yes.
Just talk to us a little bit about that scheme. What's it about?
Obviously, the new retail quarter, the not so new retail quarter, as some might call it, has been on the cards for many, many years, and that's caused the council to evict or not release the premises that people were in after their contracts had finished, until the point where we've ended up with an awful lot of derelict premises within that area. So I think the idea of Renew is to get a little bit of life and meanwhile use happening in those buildings, because the redevelopment's going to happen, but slowly but surely. For example, now the Grosvenor building is coming down, so actually the block on Cambridge Street where Golden Harvest and Music Junkie and some other shops has now been completely evacuated, ready for demolition. But there's still, some beautiful premises around where we are. I believe what was Pollard's next door to us is still available potentially for independents that are in.
And the thing about the way that works is, of course, it's positive use of the space, as opposed to simply using it as what a lot of them have been used as, which is some sort of storefront window display, and nothing actually happening in them.
Yeah, the Sheffield Showcase were putting window displays in as part of I believe it's the Sheffield Academy training people up to do that kind of a job. But how many jobs are there in Sheffield as a window dresser? I imagine not that many full-time ones in terms of a
Perhaps
career.
there'll be some more when the retail quarters lands, but we'll see. Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting kind of opinions on the new retail quarter, and there's some really beautiful old buildings there, which I know some of it's listed, so hopefully they're going to deal with those in an appropriate fashion. But yeah, there's mixed views. I know there is a Facebook group with the alternative retail quarter.
Indeed, Rupert Wood is
in
next week to give us an update on where that's going. Because now that the Grosvenor's coming down and there are more meaty discussions with a developer having been appointed, then I thought it was a good time for us to get an update from them as to how they see
Rupert's definitely a man for the job, and I'm really pleased that someone like Rupert is constantly keeping an eye on that, and he's a bit like the local equivalent of you for that particular area, keeping an eye on what the council are up to and kind of questioning their
of course he
moves. Just around
literally
the corner,
across the road from you, doesn't he?
Yes, he does, yeah. And in fact, we've just had an exhibition in the gallery. That we've got the City of Makers gallery alongside the shop, and Rupert's been running the exhibition for the last month in there with a load of screen prints by Sheffield artists that wouldn't normally be in screen print form. So there was stuff from Kid Acne and Tom J. Newell, Sarah Palmer, and lots of other great local artists. That's just come to an end, but we've got a new exhibition starting from...
Yes, I was intrigued by that, because as you say, you do have the gallery that works alongside you, and the one that's coming up this weekend looks very intriguing. It's Martin Bailey. It's called My Little Lichtenberg Exhibition. And from my
subtitled "This is not art," by the way. So he would argue that it's not an art exhibition. It's an exhibition of nature and science.
Well, quite, because from my understanding, it's basically creations from wood. Plus a whole huge amount of electricity that
lots
creates
of
a lot of
bulbs,
fire and smoke and
Yes.
Very interesting designs as a result.
Yeah. So, as I understand it, nature takes the path of least resistance.
Right.
So Martin puts an electrical volt on either end of a piece of wood and uses an electrolyte to be a conduit for the electricity.
To encourage it in the right
Yes.
direction.
And it burns these amazing patterns, but they're like the branches of a tree or the roots of a tree. A really interesting, like lightning strikes, basically.
Yeah.
And so then he takes good care of sanding them down, and he fills the gaps with luminescent material of some description and varnishes them off. Uses Yorkshire tea and vinegar to stain them.
I have to say, it is fascinating because I've
is.
seen the process actually happening live on YouTube.
Yes.
In various different aspects of people doing it. And it is the most scariest thing I've seen in terms of a creative process.
Yes.
But it does create some absolutely fascinating
it's beautiful.
results.
And like I said, Martin is insistent that it's not art, but you could look at it for a long time, which in my mind is definitely art.
And that opens this weekend, of course, in the...
Yes, we're having a special screening on Saturday after the shop closes at 6 o'clock. And then from then it will be available for people to drop in during our opening hours, which are Monday to Saturday, 10 till 6. We do pop out occasionally to go and get a sandwich or something, so bear with us. We run on a skeleton staff.
Yeah.
But
So back to the shop itself, as opposed to the gallery that works alongside you. What is it that you offer within the shop, apart from, we've talked about tickets, we've talked a little bit about vinyl. What else is the shop responsible for?
So we're selling tickets, we're selling the music, and we are offering space to local artists who make interesting things. For example, this is a t-shirt by one of the local artists, the Tribes. We sell a lot of canvases and other pieces by the Tribes as well, and numerous other artists. I think we've got 30 vendors at the moment, which is, we're just growing slowly. We've been getting used to the systems that we're working with, and inviting people who take an interest in the store to come and try their artwork out in there. And we'll give anyone, within reason, as long as there's nothing offensive, an opportunity to try and sell what they make there. And we only take a very small percentage just to contribute towards the running of the store. Because our key business is that we offer promotional services and print services for local promoters and artists as well.
Right.
We've got a laser printer that we run off posters for local promoters, and we do distribution services for flyers and posters. But we also have a really amazing up to A0 printer, which we can do some really interesting stuff, photo quality. We had a local artist bring us some really great handmade paper, and we did prints of his portraits onto those, and they came out incredibly well. So for high-end stuff, and we're keeping the prices as low as possible on the print, working with a local company who provided the printers. So again, just trying to kind of get that stuff happening instead of people just doing that on the internet, coming in and being part of the community. It's lovely to see these artists' work being printed and then sold in the shop as well, which is what we're hoping more people will take advantage of.
Yes, and always, of course, the chance that if you're in there to buy something, you might just run into the artist.
Absolutely.
Get it
Often is the
autographed.
case. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Excellent. Okay, now, you're part of what is a growing independent and community-based set of businesses in Sheffield. They seem to be a big success story across the city at the moment.
Yeah.
Everything from Pedlar Market, Albion Works, Portland Works, we've already mentioned Regather.
Yeah.
They're popping up everywhere and are proving very successful with people. Where do you think this creativity comes from the people of Sheffield?
I think it's always been there, but maybe when I first came to Sheffield, I remember discovering, because I'm not from here originally, as you can probably tell from the accent.
It's a slight southern twang there,
Yeah.
we'll forgive you.
But like many of the people who stay in Sheffield, I've come from elsewhere. I'd actually given up on England largely, and then discovered the north of England and Sheffield. I lived in Manchester before I moved to Sheffield, and Manchester's got the northern quarter, which is what I think we're starting to see the beginnings of, or the potential for, in the city centre at the moment. But I think that stuff was already going on in Sheffield, but not in any kind of central location necessarily. There's always been the stuff like out at CADS in Neep's End, and Regather at the bottom of London Road, which is close to Stag Works and places like that. So the old sort of cutlery industry buildings provide an interesting opportunity for artists and musicians to do their thing in shared kind of
Because
spaces.
they're very often a manageable size as well, because they were little Mesters organisations or relatively small, high quality producers.
Yeah.
They're not the massive warehouse spaces that
No,
are
and they're
impossible to
split
deal
into
with.
these little pods often, because that's how the Mesters. That whole Mesters thing is quite specific to Sheffield,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
it's a great idea, and I think it translates to today as well as obviously that was in a time of steel working, and that's not going on in the same way in Sheffield. But for music and art, it's a great opportunity to share resources, because they don't need a kitchen each, they don't need a toilet each necessarily, but so these small little units that can be recording studios or artist studios. I just think it's a great way to use the space that's already there.
Yeah, completely. Now, as you mentioned, you're quite heavily tied in with the City of Makers project as well.
Yeah.
That's part of the whole gallery space is related to that. What made you get involved with that project in particular?
Well, it was kind of a symbiotic, accidental thing, really. So the City of Makers were in the market for a gallery space to exhibit stuff for the year of making, which is what we're going through at the moment. And we were looking for a space to do the tickets and the local merch and that sort of stuff. And we found this space which was too big for us, too big for them, but we made it work together. So we're working together with Renew Sheffield to help get the building up to the standard that we needed, and then with the City of Makers, and also we've got the Festival of the Mind coming in for a couple of months as well. So it's just it's a great space, and the people that you mentioned before, Truth or Dare, who were the first Renew people in that premises, they'd already put lovely flooring in and some great features, because they were a rather swanky tattoo and hairdressers.
Yes.
Maybe too swanky for Sheffield. It's possibly why it's not there. But everyone remarks on the shiny floor that they left behind, so that's nice. And it's a great space, and it's really central. It's literally just 2 minutes walk from the Peace Gardens, which there's bus stops there that come from all over the city. And it's just a shame to see spaces like that not being used more. I think as much of that sort of thing as we can get going on.
It's certainly the case that you can't miss it. If you're walking from the moor to Fargate and you pass by your front door, you cannot miss it.
Painted it in the year of the making colour, which is a bright lilac.
Yes.
And it's been very painstakingly decorated by Cameron Bain, who's a local artist, aka the Tribes, the Tribes.
T-shirt.
Yes. And he did all our signage for us, and it sticks out like a sore thumb, people tell me.
No, it's great. And I guess the last question is the obvious one. What's the future for Alt Scene I? Where do you go from here?
Well, we hope to get more of the local talents work inside of the shop and continue to grow on that side of things. Want more people to come in and check out what's on offer. We've only been there since the middle of April, and we are about to kind of try and spread the word a little bit more with some flyers and info like that. But we've had to be careful with the money, the small amount of money that we had to do to run the project. So we've had to make wise decisions, and I think we're doing all right so far.
Good.
But so we just hope that it will continue to grow, and that we're there as long as possible, because the building's lovely.
Yeah, and obviously, you're there subject to the vagaries of the retail quarter, presumably in due course.
Which I'm sure Rupert will tell you a lot more about next week.
But hopefully, you'll be there for a while.
Yes.
That would be good.
Yeah.
And if people want to get involved with the store, either if they think they've got merchandise that you might be interested in selling, or if they want to get involved with the gallery, just drop in through the front door?
Yeah, absolutely. Come and see us at any day, Monday to Saturday, 10 till 6. Or you can find us on Facebook and on Twitter and by email. We've even got a website. It doesn't do much, but it's there. And the gallery space is actually curated by the City of Makers, so you can contact them directly if you have a proposal for the gallery space. And in terms of kind of local artists and makers selling stuff in the shop, just come and see us, bring it in, let's have a chat about it. It's the artists that set the price, and we really give most things a try. So if people want to pop in and show us what it is they make and get involved in kind of spreading the word about the shop to other artists, that would be fantastic.
Excellent. Nicole, thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you, Nigel.
It's been a fascinating chat about yet another good new business that's opened up in central Sheffield. So support them, be there. If you've got something that you're interested in punting, go and see them. I'll see you after the break.
Sheffield Live. Made in Sheffield. Made by you.